It's amazing to me how much external things factor into how we feel about movies. In the case of the movie Super 8, I'm talking about nostalgia. Seeing a movie like Super 8 is like seeing a Steven Spielberg movie from the 80s. Goonies, Stand By Me, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. This movie has direct elements of all of them, and so you come away going, oh, I love that movie. But then you wonder, well, do I love it because it's a great movie, or do I love it because it feels just like those movies I know from when I was a kid? And I think as I try to separate the two, I think there's a little bit of both, but I think underneath even the nostalgia, which is intense and euphoric, there's actually a really, really good movie here, based on a couple things. Number one, the performances. The performances in this movie are stunning, especially the performances they get from these kids. The girl in this movie does some things in her acting that I don't know I've seen done as well by adults. I mean, that she turns on a dime from being a kid to showing a gift for acting to being scared to being emotional. She runs the gamut and runs it flawlessly. Very impressed by her and the other kid actors in this movie, as well as Kyle Chandler, who, even though he's not in the movie for that much, this is the coach from Friday Night Lights, when he's in the movie, you really get a sense of gravity and realness in his character as a father and through what they're going through. The other part is the story. It is very emotionally engaging. It is very character-driven. It's a very character-driven science fiction movie, which people forget is what Spielberg did back in the 80s. He was very much about story and character, and that's why he was so great. This really is a big old J.J. Abrams who directed it. It's a big old J.J. Abrams love letter to Steven Spielberg. And of course Spielberg produced it, so that's not a surprise, but that is what this movie is, and it succeeds on almost every level in doing that. I also have to mention the score. The music in this movie is pitch note perfect. It's from Michael Giacchino, who, I think that's how I pronounce it, who's done the music for a lot of the Pixar movies. You might tell I'm a Pixar fan. He did Up, as well as, actually he did the music from Lost as well. Two of my favorite pop culture things he was directly involved in. And so it's great to hear his music in this movie as well. I will say one negative thing about this movie, and it's the same negative thing I say about 80s movies as well. It brings back this idea that kids, and these guys are what, I don't know, 11, 12, 13 in this movie, that they live this life where they're always swearing, where they're doing things their parents don't want them to do. I don't mind movies being realistic about what kids do and who they are. I just never lived that life, so it's not realistic to me. My friends and I didn't swear when we were hanging out. I didn't steal my parents' car and go do crazy things at night. I didn't sneak out the window. Probably the weird one. But that feels false to me and feels forced to me, whereas to most people, maybe it feels real and accurate. Whatever the case, setting that aside, this movie is well worth seeing. It is a phenomenal movie, and especially in a culture where people rip on the movies for continuing to do sequels and trilogies and fourth of movies, and how every movie this summer is a version of a movie that's already been out. It's another comic book adaptation or television adaptation. There are no original properties. Super 8 is an original property, completely written and directed for the screen, and it is well worth your time to invest in.